and I want to welcome and thank everyone for attending here today. So I am Tom Desilets from PhillyCom Inc., not to be confused with Philly.com. I used to have some friends who, when I named the company a dozen years ago, they would kid me and say, "Hey, Tom, my newspaper was wet in the driveway. Can I get a replacement?" No, that's not us. That's a different company. But we're PhillyCom Inc. So we founded in January of 2011. We're coming up on our 12-year anniversary. Hard to believe for those of us who've been here since day one, of course. And we are a full service integrator and reseller here in the tri-state area. We have clients in generally Eastern PA, New Jersey, and Delaware. So I'm going to talk a little bit. Today's featured topic is going to be cybersecurity asset management with my based upon my partner Axonius, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But for those of you who maybe don't know PhillyCom Inc., I'm just going to spend a few minutes talking about PhillyCom Inc., so you kind of get a sense of who we are. Everybody needs a mission statement, right? And ours is to be the market leader in delivering SaaS, AI, infrastructure, and security solutions. Security being what we're talking about today. We want to provide our clients with best products, trusted advisory, account management, and world-class engineering services. And when we go to market every day, we do want to bring that informed alternative choice to you, because as much as we can do mainstream technology, we do it all the time. We're constantly wanting to help our customers with new solutions that are going to reduce cost, improve productivity, and do so in a secure fashion. That's what we set out to do every day. So PhillyCom, some of the things you may not know about us: we've been rated as a top tech employer in the Philadelphia market by the Business Journal for the last 9 years. We've been recognized nationally by CRN, and this is something that they came to me independently, and I was thrilled. But we were categorized in the country as a top 250 for trailblazing solutions provider, transforming businesses and emerging technologies. Again, we've had 11 plus years of consistent growth. We are financially extremely stable. We have zero debt. We use technical governance to ensure that we're delivering for you with the right skill set. So we don't just go with whoever the next guy on the bench is to deliver whatever solution it is that we're talking about. We make sure that the expertise matches up with it, as opposed to just the next guy. We have a diverse and delighted client base. We work with, you can name the vertical market, whether it's government, legal, financial services, banking, manufacturing. We work with a lot of different clients. We have hundreds of clients we've serviced over the last 12 years. Again, we transformative solutions. Axonius is what I'm going to be talking about today. The foundations of the company. I always find it interesting when I deal with my partner friends. I have trusted advisor here, and I truly believe that this is critical for being in our role as that VAR, as that integrator. Customers quite often, they don't know who the solution provider account management team is, because those teams, no fault of their own, they tend to move around a lot, right? They get reorganized by their own company. They will change logos because there's new hot technology. PhillyCom Inc., one of the reasons, other than understanding the technology and being a trusted advisor from a technical perspective, is we're here every day. Customers know how to get a hold of us, and if they're trying to get to our partner, whether it's Axonius or another one, they know how to get a hold of us, and we take care of that behind the scenes. And we have to be proactive and responsive to help our customers every day. Solution choices, I've touched on this. We're going to be talking about cybersecurity today. Professional services, we provide project management, engineering, design, implementation, post-install, and managed warranty services, tier 1, tier 2 escalations. We help our customers with RMAs, change management, upgrades. All of that can be built in as a managed service. So what do we really strive to do? We strive to make you look good. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not doing my job if I haven't helped you look good. You have all this technology out there, and you don't want to be the guy in the corner who didn't know that there was a solution that could automate something to ensure that there's not a human error. And we often try to accentuate that. And we're going to talk about that some today. Again, if you don't know us, this is just a sampling of some, this is, your classic logo chart, but it does provide, some reference that we have some great customers that we're very grateful to, that we worked with over the last dozen years, and more than this. And these customers, we do infrastructure work for, we do cybersecurity, lots of different topics. So now we're going to get into Axonius. Has anybody in this room, I can't see the screen. Anybody in the room ever hear of Axonius before? Nope, no hands went up. Okay. 2 participants raised a hand. How about that?
What you can also do is just use the clicker. Let's see if we got a question here.
Oh, okay. I think that's from the previous one.
Joshua, we're going to get back to your question in a little bit at the end of Tom's discussion. Okay. All right. You can just use a clicker.
Thank you.
That's easier.
Thank you. Who was that guy? All right. So nobody's heard of Axonius. We've been working with Axonius for about a year and a half. Here's the primary question that it answers. The asset management challenge. Okay, if you're a CIO, if you're a CISO, or if you're in the if you're one of the troops who has to protect your environment every day, this is a question you can answer. And I've yet to have a CIO say, "Oh no, I know how to answer this." So the question is, and it's done in a little tweet here, is how many Windows hosts do I have? Now, Windows hosts you can also say IP assets. How many IP assets do I have in my environment? And you can go to, if you can go to your AV guy, go to your desktop management person, your EDR, on down the list, down to SIM, and you go to your NAC person, whoever controls that, and you can run reports. And you're going to get what you see here is you're going to get a different number from all of them. And so how can you legitimately say your environment is secure if you don't even know how many IP assets you have? I've been in this industry for getting towards 30 years. It's such an obvious vulnerability for all of us, but we all try to manage through it. Quite often I hear customers talk about spreadsheets. So I do that with spreadsheets, and we manually track all of our assets, and we try to compare and contrast, and it's really not a very effective tool. But before I get into the solution, this is the problem that it's going to solve, but I'm going to talk a little bit about how we got here. Why is it so difficult? Well, it's difficult because we all started out, 20 years ago, you had your clients sitting on a network, and you had your Active Directory authenticating them, and you had your AV protecting them, right? Then, AV got more complicated. SIM started to enter the equation. We started to, a network started to become a little more dynamic. Then we added mobile devices, right? And okay, now do you have those mobile devices properly protected that are personal devices that usually people are accessing corporate data on? And then you have cloud services, AWS, Google Cloud, Azure. You have some of these other services out there like a Duo or an Okta. And then you have SaaS, right? You have applications as a service, and how are you protecting against that? So in the last 20 years, this has really evolved. And then you also have your products that are sort of your IoT or your unmanaged devices, your IP cameras. You go to your HVAC, that's on your network all of a sudden. And so that's why this is so difficult, is because the evolution of how things have evolved. So then that gets into, all right, well, let's say you're a CrowdStrike shop. Doesn't matter. Could be CrowdStrike, could be Cylance, could be, another EDR. Is it properly deployed everywhere? Well, that's really hard to say. You can log into your, I don't want to pick on them, so I'm just going to say, you can log into your EDR management platform and say, where aren't I that I should be? It's not going to give you an answer. That's the challenge, is you want to say, hey, we're protected. I'm paying for all my licenses to an EDR. I deployed it myself. Every time I send a laptop out, it's deployed, but you don't know what your users are doing all the time. You don't know what other devices in your environment. So are you really protecting yourself? Is your protection everywhere that it should be? Then you get into the unmanaged devices that are on your privileged environments that sneak in. I've had clients say to me that, oh, well, I have a NAC and nothing gets into my network, past my NAC. So I have nothing. Right, exactly. Look, we sell NAC solutions that are best of breed, but every single time we run Axonius, we find devices that the NAC didn't know about, and they're sitting there on your IP network. Just as, again, as an example, right? How am I doing? Am I scanning my vulnerabilities with my VM clouds, and what do my users have access to, right? So where shouldn't they be going? Do they all have admin privileges? Things of that nature. How do you track all that? These are all challenges that we face every day. So you have tools in place that collect this information. You're probably sitting there remotely saying, well, I have Microsoft SCCM, or again, I have my NAC, I have my SIM. That's true. All of those tools are collecting information. But again, none of the information matches up, right? You need to aggregate that information. And that's where Axonius really differentiates itself. That's its value proposition, is they have APIs that are going to plug in. It says here on the chart, it says they have 400 plus. They actually have over 500 now. This is a 6-month-old. They've been growing like gangbusters, really developing APIs. So whatever your firewall of choice is, switch of choice, SIM of choice, NAC of choice, go on down your list of applications. They probably either have the API or they're going to develop it quickly if you request it, if you want to become a customer. So they plug into all those APIs out there that are already collecting your information. And then they have a fantastic query tool, right? And that query tool, what is it able to do? I'm now able to say, okay, show me all the IP assets, let's say Microsoft host again, all the Microsoft hosts that are in my environment that don't have my EDR deployed. Again, that's back to that question I suggested earlier. You'll have that information instantaneously, right? Show, for the people who say, hey, let's say I have a NAC. Show me all the IP assets that are in my environment that my NAC doesn't see, but my SIM sees, right? All of a sudden you're gonna have a list. Now it's probably gonna be a short list, right? I mean, it's not gonna be a long list, but you're all of a sudden, you can see where I'm going with this. You get to use this query tool where you can, by saying, show me the assets that are not being seen by, let's say you have a Tenable type scanner. By Tenable, show me that. let me, my friends who I'm sidled up to next to here in the room, Darktrace, right? Darktrace is a fantastic tool, great NDR, does everything Maxwell said. But every once in a while, if I run a query, whether it's Darktrace or another type of NDR, show me what CrowdStrike's seeing that those guys aren't, and it'll provide that to you. So it is just a treasure trove of information that already exists inside your environment. You just can't get to it, at least not easily. And that's really the foundations upon which Axonius is delivering for you. It's an easy deployment, right? It's agentless. I've been around the block enough to know, usually I get asked, all right, well, is it a thin agent? What's that deployment look like? No, it's just these APIs. And the APIs all come bundled as part of it. You don't have to pay per API. It's all bundled as part of the solution. We just have to know, okay, what is your preferred platforms? And it's a checkbox thing. Oh, I'm a Palo Alto customer or a Fortinet. I'm just saying, whether it's your firewalls, your switches, your wireless, go on down the list. We pick out those APIs. They immediately begin to operate, if you will, in your environment to collect from your existing information, aggregate it, correlate it, and present it back to you. This chart here, maybe it's a little bit of an eye chart for those in the room, but We actually have this on a handout, but there's some great common use cases, right? Show me all the unmanaged discoverable devices in my environment. That's an easy one that you can do. I'm not going to go through all these, but unscanned cloud instances, is somebody using, Dropbox and you're not scanning that? Well, it'll tell you that. Devices needing updates, right? Okay, well, I know that I sent an email out and I told everybody to update their devices. Show me the devices that are on my network that are not currently updated. Show me the devices on my network that are not adhering to my password standards. And again, all of these are drop-down easy queries to do. And I think I'm getting the end there. So there is a value prop. I don't love this screen because it's not really large enough, but Axonius went through sort of your average enterprise customer and said, what would it cost to do everything that Axonius can do with the click of a button as often as you like, whenever you want? And it's something like over $300,000 of employee time, researching, documenting, correlating. And so it really, it funds itself, if you will, just because of the ease of the deployment and the fact that the information is always current. If something gets onto your network, it's current. It will be recognized and called out. There's a couple of questions.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I'll monitor this. Let's see what we got here. Okay. All right, let's do that. Why don't you answer this? Jonathan has one. Why don't you repeat it so people in the back could hear it? And Jonathan, and we'll get to Joshua's question right afterwards. I appreciate the interaction. Make sure when you're asking questions, if you could also add in where you're working at, just the name of the company, that would give us a little bit of context.
Yep, great.
Okay, so just repeat it, okay?
Yeah, so the question here is, how can Axonius assist SCCM with reporting on assets? SCCM doesn't do well with real-time information. Is this improved with Axonius, and does another client need to be deployed to devices? Also, how is the product licensed? So I think you were probably typing and I answered a couple of those after you hit enter, but SCCM would be simply something that you would checkbox that it's an API plugin and it would collect that information. It will take what information's there, but Jonathan, the reason it's going to help you is it's going to tell you the other Microsoft objects, let's say, that are in your environment that SCCM is not seeing, and you as the administrator will be flagged to that, and you can start to bring some cohesion there in your environment to ensure that everything is recognized. And do you need a client? Nope, you don't need a client at all. It's clientless. And how is the product licensed? The product is licensed. This is always a bit of a chuckle, but the product is licensed by how many IP assets you have in your environment. Okay, I just told you, you don't know that answer. That's why this product is valuable. Okay, but it's a tough one to answer. The way that Axonius handles it, a couple ways. First of all, we ask you to give your best guess. Give us your best estimate. They don't license down to the asset number. So let's say you said, I have 10,000 assets in my environment. That's fine. They have a band from 10,000 to 15,000 where the price doesn't change. So if you missed it by 2,000, you really have 12,512. That's fine. The price doesn't change. As long as you stay within these pretty sizable bands, you're going to be just fine. And I'm going to come back to you real quick. So that's how we can get you a budgetary. If you want to give me your best guess, the way we really realize it is we do a proof of value. We show you what we see, and all of a sudden we can kind of drill down and know what that real answer is.
So the good thing there is, again, with any of these questions with Dark Tracer and his speakers, we'll get a couple more questions, and then I'm going to bring up John O'Donnell from AWS to speak, but let's hear from the city of Wilmington again.